Literary Essay, Lesson 6. Our learning target for today's lesson is I can use transition words and phrases to link parts of my essay to my claim. So we're going to talk about what transition words and phrases are, and then we're going to take some time to look at our mentor text and highlight as many transition words and phrases as we can find. And then lastly, we're going to look at which transition words and phrases are good to introduce reasons, introduce evidence, and connect ideas. Our new vocabulary word for today's lesson is transition, and a transition is a word or phrase that links ideas so the text reads smoothly from one point to the next. So now we're going to take some time to look at our mentor text examples, and the mentor text examples were posted in Google Classroom with lesson 2. So I want you to pause this video and take a few minutes and look through those mentor texts and to highlight any transition words and phrases you find. If you can't highlight them, that's fine, you can just jot them down, but you're going to pause the video and you are going to take a few minutes to look over the mentor text and find as many transition words and phrases you can find. Go. Alright, let's look at some transition words that are going to be great for when you introduce your reasons. So you can start by saying first. That's great. If it's your first reason, you can say first. To start. To begin with. All three of those, great for your first reason. Second is good for your second reason. Next, you could use for your second reason or your third reason. One reason, you could use for all three of your reasons, perfectly fine. Another reason, you could use for your second reason or your third reason. Finally, lastly, can only be used for your third reason because they are your last reason in your paper. And then most importantly, I would save that one for your last reason because you want to try to make sure that your last reason is your most important reason because that's really going to tie your paper together. So these are great transition words and phrases to use when you're introducing your 3 different reasons. So after you've introduced your reason, now you have to introduce the evidence that you've found that supports that reason. So you can use transition words and phrases like, for example, for instance, in particular, specifically, additionally. In other words, in fact, an example is. All of those can be used at any time to transition from your reason to your evidence or to go from evidence to more evidence. All of these are great transition words and phrases when you are introducing new evidence into your body paragraphs. And lastly, we have your reasons, you have your evidence, and now you're going to want to connect ideas together. Maybe you're trying to connect reasons together or evidence together. Whatever it is, these are some great transition words and phrases to use when you're connecting ideas. So you can use in addition, otherwise, although, therefore, in fact, furthermore, similarly, consequently, actually, so, however, nevertheless, yet, instead, moreover, and particularly. So these are when you are connecting ideas together. Maybe you're taking one piece of evidence and you need to connect it to another piece of evidence. These are good connectors and good transition words and phrases to go from one idea to the next idea. So now I want you to think about which transition words and phrases are you going to use in your paper. Make sure that they are introducing reasons, evidence, and connecting ideas. The point of using transition words is to make your paper flow smoothly so that the reader really understands what you're saying, and it connects everything together. It has a nice flow, and it's going to be really easy for the reader to read. So you want to use these transition words and phrases when you're introducing new reasons, when you're introducing evidence, when you're trying to connect ideas, because you want to write the best paper possible and you really want that reader to agree with you. And if you use these, it's going to make your paper read so smoothly, and the reader's going to really understand what you are saying, and that's what you want. So make sure you are using transition words and phrases. And that brings us to the end of our lesson. So our exit ticket questions for today are: why do authors use transition words and phrases when they write literary essays? And give an example of a transition you plan to use to introduce a reason, introduce evidence, and connect an idea. So now you're going to go into Google Classroom, you're going to complete your exit ticket, and then there's another worksheet where you are also going to focus on using transition words and phrases in your paper. So go do both of those assignments.